you like some nice flaming enchiladas for lunch? I turned the flame too high and burned them all to a crisp.
That's the nice thing about your cooking, Tim. It discourages overeating.
Hey, what's the king-size horseshoe for?
Well, the cosmic polarizer of my spaceship has lost magnetism through lack of use. I'll have to recharge it. Look, Tim, will you come over here and throw that switch for me?
Aye, aye, sir. Ready whenever you are.
Quick, turn it off. You're shooting the magnetism into me. Anything off of me.
This is ridiculous. I have never heard of people getting magnetized.
But, Tim, I'm not people. I am a Martian.
Well, I'm sorry. I am just a humble Earth man, and I don't go around wearing a Stilson wrench for a fraternity pin.
No. Put that thing down. Hold that thing up. Don't come near me, Tim. No, don't come near me.
Don't worry, I'll get you loose.
I never knew until now that a kitchen could be so dangerous.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. You just went by the cigarette lighter and the ashtray. Both of them are made out of metal.
Tim, you're right. Apparently my little nightmare in the kitchen drained the excess magnetism out of my system.
Huh.
Oh, I'm so excited. It took me a while to make up my mind, but once I did, I knew it was the right thing to do. Don't you agree?
Well, if you decided to lower our rent, we certainly do.
On the other hand, if you're going to raise it, we certainly don't.
I do wish you two would stick to the subject. Tim, remember the article you wrote last month about Andy Fuller?
Andy Fuller. Wasn't he the pickpocket that's up for parole?
Remember you said how much he'd need a job when he got out?
Hey, do you know somebody who's going to give him one?
I certainly do. And you do, too.
I do?
Yeah.
Who?
Me.
You?
Come on in, Andy.
Hi, Mr. O'Hara. Bet you didn't expect to see me here. Last time we met was up at the old alma mater.
Welcome to the other side of the Iron Curtain, Andy. I'd like you to meet my Uncle Martin O'Hara, Andy Fuller.
Oh, glad to know you, Andy.
I sure owe that nephew of yours an awful lot. I don't know how I'll ever repay him.
Well, I think it'll be thanks enough for him if you don't return to the old alma mater for the postgraduate course.
I sure hope I make it this time. Well, I guess I better get back to the job before the boss finds out I'm gold bricking.
Oh, I don't think she'll mind.
So long.
Good luck, Andy. Mrs. Brown, look, I know that I wrote the article that said someone ought to give him a job, but I can't vouch for him. Look, he has been in the clink at least a dozen times.
Well, I'm sure that Andy knows just as well as we do that 13 is an unlucky number. Oh, and you know what? I talked to the girls in the Westwood Women's Lord Byron and Hemstitching Society, and they're going to find odd jobs for him, too.
Orally, you're a perfect refutation of the old saying that beauty is only skin deep.
My, what a lovely compliment. With my hair like this, well, I must look a mess. What in the world made them do that?
Perhaps they developed mental fatigue and let go.
Well, I shouldn't wonder. What with all the smog and sonic booms, I'm surprised everything doesn't just fall apart. Thank you.
I thought you said you got all the magnetism out of your system. Hey, I have a great idea. Now, look, why don't you just run downstairs, hitch yourself up to the old machine, and shoot the juice right back into the old magnet, huh?
An excellent suggestion. Except that when a certain party, who shall remain nameless, threw a certain switch when he sneezed, he reduced a certain machine into electronic hash. I've got it. I mean, I've got a way not to have it.
Oh, well, good, because I knew that between the two of us, you'd come up with an answer. But don't you tell me. No, you surprise me.
Well, if it isn't the literary luminary and his next of kin. I'd like a word with you two.
Detective Brennan, we'd like to listen to your words of wisdom all day, but we're rather in a hurry.
Yes, and besides, we don't want to keep you from your duty. Now, as I understand it, down at the playground today, there is a very hot floating checker game.
Tim, I happen to be rather fond of Mrs. Brown, and I don't appreciate what you've done.
Done?
Writing that sob sister stuff and talking her into hiring a crook like that Fuller.
Detective Brennan, I thought the purpose of the penal system was to give a man a chance to rehabilitate himself.
Of course it is, but this is different.
In what way?
In a million ways, like, because it's different, that's why.
Tim, have you ever noticed how some people try to make up for weak logic with strong lung power?
Now, see here, O'Hara, I know more about people like Fuller than you do.
Possibly, but bear in mind that Marcus Aurelius once said, "Judgments made in haste are oft repented at leisure."
I know. I also know that while Marcus was saying it, some crook stole his toga.
That was just an accident, Andy. Could happen to anybody.
Yeah, but you notice it happened to me. I just can't do anything. Well, I can see it starting.
What is it?
Same old merry-go-round. Every time I get out of stir, I try to find a job I can handle. Mess it up, get fired. First thing you know, I'm back at the old trade. The one thing I'm really good at.
Andy, sometimes the fear of failure brings about the very thing one is afraid of. Believe me, anybody with your digital dexterity can learn to do almost anything.
As a matter of fact, I'll bet you that there are lots of brain surgeons who would be honored to have those, educated fingers. Look, you just stay in there and, keep punching, okay? Well, you're almost rid of it. Although I must admit, I still don't know what you're doing.
It's rather basic, really. So basic, in fact, I almost forgot about it. This nozzle is spraying me with space lines.
Space lines?
Magnetism is created by lines of force. By inducing lines of space into my system, I'm able to repulse the lines of force out of me.
Well, you can't get rid of it fast enough for me. I don't mind telling you I've been so worried, I'm losing my baby fat. 4, 3, 2, 1, bingo!
No offense, Doctor, but I'd like to check the reading for myself.
Well, just for your lack of confidence, when I send you my bill, I'm going to add 10% for bruising my ego.
Can I help you with anything?
Oh, no thanks, Andy. I'm just looking for a place to get rid of this can.
Oh, let me have it. I'll get rid of it.
No, that's all right. No, don't
Oh,
bother.
there's no bother at all.
It is,
Oh, Mrs. Brown, I'll be back in a minute.
spilled my magnetism all over his hands.
Oh, that's just great. That's all Andy's sticky little fingers need.
No, thank you, Andy. I can manage. If you'll just put my coat over my shoulders first.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Oh, a nice pin.
Oh, thank you. Detective Brennan bought it for me one night when we were down on Elvira Street.
What I see? Look, why didn't he give the pin back to her?
And how would he explain how he got it? Let's face it, Tim. With Andy's past record, he realizes he'd be immediately suspected of having taken it.
Well, that is exactly what Brennan is going to think as soon as Mrs. Brown tells him that her pin is missing.
That's why the first thing we must do is make sure that pin is returned to Mrs. Brown.
Well, the second thing we have to do is go down and get that space line doohickey of yours and get rid of his magnetism.
That, Tim, I'm afraid is impossible. You see, magnetism can be introduced into your primitive earthly anatomy, but I'm afraid you can't take back the introduction.
Hi, Tim. Gee, I sure let you fellas down. These hands may not be good for anything else, but when it comes to hooking things that belong to other people, they practically work by themselves.
You mean you really took it without intending to, didn't you, Andy?
I guess so. I didn't even know I was swiping it, so help me. Maybe these fingers are trying to tell me something.
Perhaps they are. But even a casual knowledge of anatomy indicates that there are very few brain cells in even the most exceptional knuckle.
Thanks for letting me off the hook so easy. I don't know how to explain it to Mrs. Brown. Especially with that detective friend of hers hanging around.
We were just going downstairs to talk to Mrs. Brown about the water heater. So why can't we return the pen for you? And don't worry. I assure you, your name won't come up in the conversation.
Thanks.
Okay, Fuller. You might as well come clean. You know you stole that pin, and so do we.
Now, Bill, we don't know anything of the sort. Why, you know how I misplace things. Why, just the other day, I put my hat in the roasting pan and a leg of lamb in the closet.
Now, Lauralee, if you'll just let me handle this. Fuller, if you don't want to talk here, we've got a nice, cozy room down at the station.
You shot the target. They'll never find it. Oh, yes, he will. At least Detective Brennan will.
Okay, take your time. I can wait.
Hey!
Oh, it's my pin. Well, I told you I misplaced it. Bill, I think you owe Andy an apology.
Well, Fuller, I guess I'm sorry. Sorry about it. Now, Lauralee, that the case of the missing pin has been solved,
I wish Andy'd get out of there while he's ahead.
I better get back to work.
Holy Toledo. He's pulling Brennan's wallet right out of his pocket.
Oh, I'll put some on right away. Oh, and I've got some delicious cream spinach pie to go with the coffee. Well, don't worry about the calories.
Oh, that was quite a tug of war. I hope we have some liniment in the medicine chest.
I feel like a real sneak watching every move that Andy makes.
It's no need to feel guilty, Tim. After all, we know Andy is innocent of committing any crimes. We're simply protecting him from himself.
Oh. Well, I hope somebody up there is doing the same for us.
What amazes me is the scientific breakthrough we've made. Aside from Mrs. Brown's pen, what else did Andy attract? A wallet. Leather. Now, what does that suggest to you?
Yeah. I'd say he's doing what comes naturally.
In a sense. His subconscious mind, conditioned by years of habit, is causing magnetic impulses to attract other substances than metal.
Oh. Well, how come it doesn't happen all the time? I mean, why don't things always float to him?
His magnetism is intermittent, as it went through my system first.
Well, how much longer is that going to last?
According to my calculations, I'm happy to report a little more than 1 hour.
Oh, well, I am sorry to report that my watch is gone.
Now, Tim, remember, he didn't mean to take it.
the important thing is that he's got it. At least it's important to me. That was inscribed to the best reporter in the L.A. Sun.
Who gave it to you?
I gave it to myself. I got tired of waiting for somebody else to give it to me.
I know. I'm getting more paint on the ground than on the cabinet. The instructions say a child of 6 can use it.
Well, perhaps they were referring to Leonardo da Vinci when he was 6.
Yeah, Andy, look, I don't suppose you happen to have seen my wristwatch around anywhere?
I saw it. I got it. I was going to put it back in your apartment after I got finished, honest. I don't even remember swiping it. Habit, I suppose.
Well, as long as Tim has it back. We both realize habits are difficult to break, don't we, Tim?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, I remember once.
Maybe I just can't break this one. Maybe I just ought to give up trying.
Well, now, hold it, Andy. You can't give up trying to go straight.
Well, I'm not doing so good at this. The other stuff I do too good.
Nevertheless, Andy, there's quite a bit riding on you. How you go, so goes the rehabilitation program. And Tim with it.
Well, what have we here? A budding Rembrandt?
Like I've always said, once a cop hater, always a cop hater.
Another 45 minutes and it'll all be over.
45 minutes, huh? Well, let's synchronize watches and cross fingers. I can't stand much more of this.
You! Oh, I'm so glad you're home. This is an invitation. Time, right now. Place, downstairs. Occasion, an informal meeting of the Westwood Women's Lord Byron and Hemstitching Society.
Oh, well, that's very flattering. Of course, it's been such a long time since I stitched a hem.
And that goes for me, too.
Well, I know it's short notice, but the idea came to me just like that. We're calling it the Welcome Back to Society, Andy Fuller, We Believe in You rally.
That's a very nice sentiment, Flora Lee.
Thank you. That's why I'm wearing all this jewelry. We want to show Andy that we have complete confidence in him.
To show... Do you mean that he is going to the meeting?
Mm-hmm. He's already downstairs getting to know the girls. Oh, and isn't it nice? This is Detective Brennan's afternoon off, and he's down there, too. Oh, my goodness, I wondered what I said that was so persuasive. Have you read my poetry? Hello, ladies. Mrs. Peabody. Oh, Bill, did you notice Mrs. Peabody's pearls and diamond pendant? Aren't they enormous?
My professional opinion that wearing all that jewelry with that Fuller around is just asking for it.
Now, Bill, we must think positively.
You know, for once, Brennan is right. Having a pickpocket in here is like turning a fox loose in a hen house.
Tim, Andy is not just a pickpocket. He's a magnetized pickpocket. And I'm happy to say that in exactly 2 minutes, he'll be demagnetized.
Oh, girls. Oh, and gentlemen, make yourselves comfortable. I'd like to say a few words. As chairman of the rehabilitation committee. Now, I know that some of our members thought we should spend our efforts trying to get the city to install bird baths all over Westwood. But as I always say, what's more important? Restoring a man to society or a clean bobolink?
Did you see that? It crawled in his hand like it had eyes.
Now, I'm going to hand out paper and pencils, and we'll all make a list of possible jobs for Andy. Yeah?
Don't just stand there. Do something before she starts yelling for the cops.
Loose, Tim. Andy's magnetism is making it impossible for me to levitate the necklace out of his pocket. There's only one thing left to do.
What are you looking for?
My space line.
Oh, you mean that thing that you demagnetize yourself with?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought you said you couldn't demagnetize a human.
I can't. Yeah. However, by throwing the switch into reverse, the space liner becomes electromagnetic, throwing a line of force creating magnetism.
Oh, I see. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that just gonna magnetize Andy? I mean, don't you think he has enough of a magnetic personality already?
This is for me. It's the only way I can pull the necklace out of Andy's pocket.
Uncle Martin, suppose Lieutenant Brennan catches you with this stuff.
Well, it's a chance I'll have to take. One thing's for certain, Tim. I can't let an innocent man suffer for a crime he never intended to commit.
That means you have to become the sacrificial lamb?
Perhaps. But we Martians, Tim, are quite the antithesis of your month of March. We come in like lambs, but go out like lions.
And now, ladies, Detective Brennan. Oh, and Andy, of course. I'll read the list of suggested jobs for Andy.
We're in luck. Mrs. Peabody's loss hasn't been discovered as yet.
Mrs. Murray recommends that Andy take up some sort of needlework trade, being so nimble with his fingers. Oh, why, Isabel, that's a very good thought.
Oh! My necklace! My necklace is gone!
Ladies, please, don't panic, but nobody's to leave this room. And I do mean you, fellas.
Oh, now, Bill, I'm sure that Andy didn't have...
Please, Laura Lee, let me handle this. Hands up high, Fuller.
There, now, what did I tell you? I was sure that Andy didn't take them.
Well, somebody did. And you O'Haras were conspicuously absent for a while, weren't you? You did leave this room and go outside for a few minutes, didn't you?
Detective Brennan, I resent your insinuation.
Do you deny it?
No, but I resent it.
Well, Tim, after all, Detective Brennan does have a job to do. If he wishes to search us, let him.
What?
However, if he wishes to save time, I suggest he search himself.
Search myself? What kind of a fool do you think I am?
I don't know. How many kinds are there?
Oh, Martin, now you're being just as silly as Bill is. Well, he couldn't have Mrs. Peabody's necklace in his pocket.
Now, ladies. Don't get the wrong idea. The good detective is no thief. This was merely a demonstration of Andy's to show you how clever our nimble fingers of the underworld can be. Next time, you'll be on your guard when wearing valuable jewelry. Andy, if you'll be good enough to return these now.
My, wasn't that instructive? Say, Bill, wouldn't it be wonderful if Andy could go around giving groups a demonstration of how careful people should be?
An excellent idea, Laura Lee. Perhaps even the police rookies under Detective Brennan could pick up some valuable pointers of what to watch out for.
Oh, and Martin, that's a perfect job for Andy. Oh, Bill. Oh,
Is that a private joke, or can anybody get in on it?
Oh, of course, Tim. I was just thinking about the boys up at Andy's old alma mater. Wait till they hear that their old classmate is going to get paid for doing what comes naturally. Big evening ahead?
Oh, yes. Well, good night.
Isn't that my best tie you're wearing? And my cufflinks? And my tie clip?
Oh. Oh, yes. Well, I guess when I opened that popcorn can this afternoon, I magnetized myself.
I suppose it could have happened.
Well. Hey, I am magnetized.
Good night, Tim.
Bill.